to you, my best friend. And after a good drunk, you and me wake up and make love after a deep sleep where I was dreaming of a dream girl, a dream girl.
Dream Girl, Dave Matthews Band. It's Dan RadioStyle. Hope everybody out there is doing amazingly well. That would be the preferred way to go about this. Signs. Going to do another show on signs, talk about signs, give a couple of cool little examples of how they can show up. Kind of, I think, give my my little piece of information about how what I think they represent. And I'm going to say just right off the bat, first and foremost, not particularly concerned with how anybody else, any other authors, any other whoever's, their view is their view. This is my view. This is, it's like been built over, so it is what it is. So I either agree or disagree. But that all being said, and I think the real caveat that I'm speaking to is the concept of coincidence. That idea of it's just random happenstance. It's not related to what I was asking about, even though it's coincidentally in the same genre, the same group, it's like the answer I was asking for. That's like just I don't believe in that. I believe if something has happened because of, or something happens even in spite of, whatever, like you were thinking something and then this happens, truly we've caused that, or at least we've been lined up with it is probably a better way to put it. We've aligned our energies with that event, and that's why we've now seen it. So that's why that coincidence has happened, right? So I want to say I don't believe in coincidences. So I use the word signs, I use the word symbols, I use the word, like I'll use all sorts of other words instead of coincidence because it's got kind of a connotation. People think something when you bring up coincidence. To me, they're all really one and the same. Really, truly. It's just, like I said, they've ruined the word coincidence. So I don't believe in them. I don't care what other people say. I really don't. I truly don't. That's what I'm saying. So I'm starting off with that because it's like an important caveat. Now, that all being said, quick little Neville Goddard quote to kind of start it off with something, from someone other than me, certainly, right? Consciousness is the way or door through which things appear. He said, I am the way, not I, John Smith, am the way, but I am the awareness of being, is the way through which the thing shall come. The signs always follow. They never proceed. Things have no reality other than in consciousness. Therefore, get the consciousness first, and the thing is compelled to appear. Neville Goddard. Okay? So, signs, without a doubt, are meant to be a part of this path. Coincidence doesn't exist, so that means if anything happens, and I'm going to give an awesome example here in about 20 seconds. If anything happens to you, it is a sign. If it's in line, if it's sort of there, if it's kind of, how weird. There's this thing. If your imagination sees it, if your attention sees it, it was meant for you. If it's a license plate, how many license plates do you see? If you see dozens, if you see hundreds, the fact that that one caught your attention, or the fact that that one happened to have those letters, that's significant. It caught your attention. It happened to be in that area, and you were thinking about it. So, the crazy one that I had just on my way to the gym, right before I came back and started recording this, basically. I'm driving down to the gym. I'm like, all right, I'm going to do a show on signs. I'd basically already kind of gotten my music done before I left, so I was more or less in a good place. I'm like, all right, I'm just kind of thinking about, mulling over the idea of signs and symbols. Get to this part of this intersection, and I drive fast. I don't speed, per se. I just get to the speed limit quickly. I enjoy it. I like my car. I have fun. Zoom, zoom. It's good times, right? And here we go. So I'm taking off, and it's funny as there's this truck that's kind of coming in, and he sort of seems like he's coming over, and he points his finger out the window, pointing basically, essentially in hindsight, down the road I was about to turn left on. But what it looked like is he wanted to come over to the left and didn't know how to use a blinker, and so was kind of pointing like, hey, I'm coming over, because he was far enough up to where, all right, but I was already getting over anyway, so I just thought it was kind of funny. So I get out of that lane and get into the turn lane to go towards where he was pointing, ironically, and he never changes lanes, ever. Ever. Never changes lanes. So it's like, what the hell was the finger for? Now, of course, we can ascribe something, I'll throw this one at you, that the person, maybe he was talking in the car, was like, so, like, is there a Home Depot anywhere nearby? And he's like, oh yeah, down that road. And just pointed down the road I happen to be going. Or, hey, where's the sheriff's station? Oh, hey, it's just down that road. Like, any number of questions could have been asked of him in the cab of this truck. But what matters is the fact that I, driving behind him from the angle I was coming at, sees a hand coming out the window. I'm thinking about doing a show on signs. All of a sudden, this guy's pointing his finger out, makes me think, it's a sign. He's going to come over. He's showing the way. And then he doesn't actually do that. And then I'm like, well, he's pointing down the road. And then I thought about it even further, and I'm like, it doesn't really matter what he was pointing at. That's a perfect example of like a sign. I was looking for a sign. There's a sign. Point down that way. It's where you got to go anyway. So in this case, and I wanted mine to be wishy-washy, by the way, in this case, it was definitely a sign. No question in my mind. Yes, that was weird, wishy-washy, could be explained away. It could have been a conversation they were having. And again, it can always be justified what happened to cause what you experienced. The issue is you saw it. You witnessed it. Doesn't matter that they were having a fight and happened to throw a cup of juice out the window, but that actually is exactly what you saw. You saw the red of the juice or something, right? And it made you think something that you're like, oh my God, that was the sign. Ketchup, whatever, right? So it doesn't matter what causes the sign, doesn't matter why it happened. What matters is you were thinking about something, then some random coincidence happened that tied in directly to what you've been thinking about. That is a sign. It comes because you've been doing the imaginal work. It comes as a gift. It comes as a plus. It's like, here, this is some evidence for you that you were on your way. So many of us forget. We're like, well, how do I know that things are happening? Well, you get breadcrumbs like that. Are you going to get anything solid? Is God going to like poof and go, so I just wanted to let you know that right now, all the things that you've been asking for are exactly what I'm giving you. Well, thank you, God. I appreciate you stopping by. No, probably not going to play out quite like that. You get these breadcrumbs. You get this cool little stuff like, ooh, look at that. Look at this. So make your way down the path. Ask the questions to universe. Make your imaginal work happen. Whatever it is that you're trying to figure out. These answers will present themselves in one form or another. And it will likely, in a lot of cases, be things that you were very easily able to pawn off on something else. But again, I've talked about one of my favorites, and it's been a while since I've talked about it, so I'm like due for some beach ball sightings, right? But what were you thinking, right? So a lot of times if I'm focusing, thinking on beach balls or even talking about beach balls is an awesome, fun little imaginal exercise because it's great to, they're, the white, the red, the yellow, blue. There's usually those four colors, right? And they're kind of that striped on the ball, and you can imagine the little blowhole on the top, and it's got that weird, funky, plasticky smell, right? And that's the beach ball. So when you imagine it and you're like, all right, I'm done, and I'll freaking see a beach ball. And, call it a coincidence. It'll be on a TV show. It'll be in a magazine. It'll be in the office. Someone's punting around a beach ball. I'll be like, no way. Like, it'll show up in some weird random place. Is that not a sign? Of course it's a sign. Are you kidding me? I was thinking about it. If I'm thinking about my specific person and their initials pop up, their birthday pops up. Some 1111 is an awakening sign, by the way. So a lot of people have really run crazy rampant with some of the numbers and repeating patterns and have them meaning things. And if you predefine it, cool. I mean, truly, if you do, but if it happens, or happens a few times, and then you suddenly decide what it means. I don't know about that so much. But look at the numerology thing I've talked about. A lot of times numbers are a cool thing, and what they represent when they're repeating is kind of growth, and it represents different aspects, and like 4 means one thing, 3 means one thing. Like, again, just maybe give it a little more. But anyway, pay attention to what you're thinking and then what you're experiencing. If you're looking for some sort of proof, like I've talked about, proof is definitely going to come in these sorts of signs. These little, hey, little nudge, little, right? Nudge you. I hope that was loud enough. Nudge you and go, hey, yeah, you're going the right way. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep doing it. Woohoo! Right? Like, I don't know how more, like, they can't just constantly shoot around fireworks in front of you. Just at some point, you got to realize, hey, this is how this stuff works. And then you kind of kick it up to the next level. Truly, by the way, the next level. If you're still like, I need a sign, I need a sign, I need a sign, I need a sign, I like signs, you're kind of almost holding yourself back when you realize it works all the time. If you're at that place where you're like, does this work? Yeah, signs, asking for them are groovy. You're going to get them regardless. Don't worry about it. But it's the asking for them. Like, I want a sign to show me something. That just means you don't believe that this process works. It really does. You're asking for a sign to prove it. If you need proof, you don't believe. If you are working on the belief aspect, then it's fine to do. So I'm not criticizing. Everybody is correct exactly where they are. I'm trying to speak to a broad audience, trying to paint with a broad brush, and certainly trying to give an example for all walks, right? So signs come in a lot of ways. I think that's pretty much the big picture. I think one of the other things too is, what are you asking for? If you're asking questions, if you're asking the universe for some sort of sign, some sort of symbol, some sort of something, I've got a question and I'd like the answer to it, or I'd like to understand something better, I'd like to understand this, or I'd like to come across a book that might help me understand this, whatever the case is, right? You're putting out that question, and then suddenly some coincidence happens. All right, there's your answer. There's your sign. That they're all tied together. Your sign is your answer, is your sign, is your coincidence, is all these things. It is amazing how tied in we are with everybody around us, with the higher selves around us. Some random dude that I don't know at all, but somehow he managed to point down the street, him and possibly, I don't even know if he had a passenger, by the way. I'm just assuming that's the case. Him and the potentially possible passenger that was in. Maybe the guy's just schizo and he's like, die, die. And he's just pointing out the window and die, right? Thank God he's driving. That makes me feel safe, right? I don't really know what the heck was actually happening, but the timing of it was perfect. My point. Him, higher self, die, whatever. Oh, hey, it's down there. That's where the Home Depot is. Like, who knows? Doesn't matter per se. Really doesn't. That's his story. That's his deal. It's not me pushed out or anything stupid like that. It's him. That's his, like, die. And for me, it was like, no way. He's pointing that. What the, how cool is that? Right? So that's my experience. I could have been looking any other place other than this dude pointing out his window. The timing of it, the fact that you were aware of it, all of these things are significant in and of themselves. Understand when it's happening how miraculous this is. So many people are like, oh, I had a sign. No, that's huge. Huge. Enormously huge. Extra huge with some sort of huge sauce. Like, I don't even know what the hell it would be, but it would be thick, I'm sure. It's all over it. Just huge sauce. Large amounts probably too. It's huge. Understand that when we start to get our answers, when we start to interact with everyone in life and start to realize that this is all here for us, all of us. You are living on such a level of consciousness, you start awakening to a degree that's beyond knowing. So keep paying attention, keep owning your thoughts. All these things I'm talking about, yeah, you can manifest whatever the heck you want, definitely. But there's more too, believe it or not. There's more to this. So I like to kind of play with both. So signs and symbols, you're on your way. Yay, your manifestation's happening. Hey, you know what? Also, spiritually, you're growing in a very cool way. That's like a double win-win. Yummy. Throw some cheese on there, too. I said double. It's only for this small number of people that actually know what in and out is. So anyway, Hopefully that makes sense. I have no idea what I'm calling this. Seriously, I'm going to lament on the title of this video. But that being said, signs, I think explained well. I'm hoping, and someone kind of asked for it, so hopefully that gives you a chance. So I'm going out with a Beyonce song, coincidentally called Signs, ironically, and she's talking about like zodiac signs, but I don't know, I listened to it and I'm like, it's Beyonce, and it's kind of cool. So whatever the heck, it's not something I would typically listen to, but Beyonce rocks it. So just talking some zodiac signs. It's a Dan Radio Style.
Which sign is best for me? Capricorn, Aquarius, Pisces.